we can't stop talking about it because we have a long way to go.
Welcome to the Last Catherine podcast.
Hi, welcome to Last Catherine. I'm Pallas.
And I'm Robert John Hadfield. Okay, so today's What's in the Blank is the average height of a woman in the United States is approximately blank feet, blank inches.
I know this one.
Do you really?
5'4" inches.
No.
What do you think?
5'6".
Oh,
Okay, and the answer is 5'4".
because I'm 5'4", so
And so
that's why I know that.
and the reason I want to bring that up is because today's topic, we're going to be talking about a very physical thing, which is roller derby. And why don't we have you introduce who's with us today? And she can even... by the way, how tall are you before we introduce?
I am 5'10".
Okay.
And then with skates on, I'm probably 6 foot. Yeah.
This is my friend Alda, or Julia. Alda is her roller derby name. We met in roller derby, and she's just one of my besties. We also play Dungeons and Dragons together.
Really?
And we go to the Ren Fair together, and we just do all kinds
All
of
the nerdy things
really super
together.
fun, awesome things together.
Yeah.
So
They're also super fun and awesome.
You know, I have to ask a question, speaking of nerdy things. Are you guys into Star Wars?
Matt's more into Star Wars than I am. I'm more of a Trekkie, but
Okay, so you do have that nerdy science fiction side.
I love science fiction. Ender's Game is like one of my favorite
Really?
books. Yeah.
Orson Scott Card
Yeah.
wrote that, right?
Who was Mormon?
He was a member of the Mormon Church.
Yep.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. So, Star Wars?
Yeah, I'm actually more of a Trekkie too.
Really?
Yeah, I do like Star Wars though. Actually, just about an hour ago, I was talking to my friend about Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, the video game, and
The video games are awesome.
yeah,
Are
I
they really?
loved.
Is it
I
cool?
love the Knights of the Old Republic games, and so he was recommending me to play the MMO that's been out for a while,
Well, what does that stand for?
mass multiplayer online game,
Okay.
MMO. I hope I said that right. I just like
MMO, massive multiplayer online.
I wouldn't know.
yeah.
You're smarter than me. I
World
wouldn't
of
even know.
Yeah,
Warcraft
so it's
Okay.
like you create a character and then you just go play it out in a world with other people creating characters. It's a lot like Dungeons and Dragons except like online. So you just make a character and then go play in
Do
a
you
world.
both do that stuff?
I don't do MMOs, no. I mean, I play video games, but I've never done the... And we had that video game
Yeah.
episode, and part of that is because as a woman, you're going to get kind of opening yourself up for attack.
Indeed.
Also, there's never an end to an MMO. Like, you're just going to keep,
You just keep
playing
playing
and playing and playing.
yeah.
And I just... Like, I just...
you want to win or lose or
I
whatever.
like there to be a culmination
Somehow it
of my...
finishes.
Yeah.
I like
a strong
I like
storyline
never
that
ending.
culminates in something.
Yeah, I'm a big never-ending game person. Like when The Sims came out, I was a huge fan of that. Like SimCity, Sims,
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
things
remember all that
that have like small goals but no real end game. And so I was always attracted to those games. But
Yeah.
it's funny because like I incite kind of like I dare you to talk about how I'm a girl and playing this game. Like I dare you.
Yeah.
Like I always pick really silly, girly names. And like
So
one
you
time,
welcome that. You're like, bring it,
yeah,
guys.
I'm like, you just got owned by me, a girl, ha ha ha, sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
kind of a completist with video games, and so if I play an MMO, like even stuff that's like Skyrim, like I'm like, I want to pick berries until there's no berries, but the berries keep coming, and like the maps are so
Oh my
huge,
gosh,
and I
how
can't
funny.
explore everything, and it's just it's too much for me. I need I'm much better. I know how
Structured.
to rein myself in, with structure, and like it ends, and I'm like, it ended. Now let's go get another one.
Wow, that's crazy. That's very interesting. Because I play very few video games at all. That's funny here.
Yeah.
Because my son plays some and I play with him a little bit, and I don't do much other than that. But you do roller derby, obviously.
I do,
You guys
yeah.
did roller derby together.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that?
Well, it actually goes back pretty far. When I was little and they had the 80s show, like the roller games TV show on late
Okay.
at night after like WWF. Like I used to stay up really late with my brothers and watch WWF, and then they'd be like, I'm done. And then the roller games would come on, and you'd watch this roller derby, which wasn't really roller derby. It was pretty fake. They even had like an overtime section where they would open a pit and have like crocodiles in it and like ridiculous things like that. But I thought it was like the coolest thing, and I loved it when I was little. I was like, that's so neat. And then it kind of disappeared for a while. And when I moved up to Denver, I was really excited about the scene because I randomly saw this poster about roller derby. And I was like, that's so cool. But then I didn't really engage with it for a while. And then I was like, I need something to be active. I want to get back into a team sport. That's really where I really like to play sports, is with a team and doing something challenging. And I was like, I should try out for that roller derby thing. That was really cool. And so I contacted them and they're like, yeah, come, tryouts are next week. I was like, okay, do you have an open skate? They're like, yeah, we have one. I went out and I put roller skates on after 10 years of not ever skating on quads. Put some roller skates on, skated around and said, okay, yeah, maybe.
Quads.
The four, instead of inlines, sorry.
Okay.
Shorthand.
I assumed that's what you meant, but I didn't.
Yeah, shorthand speak. Yeah, quads are the old school roller skates because they're four in a square, so they're like a quad. The inlines are just in like one straight row of wheels.
And usually roller derbies with quads.
Yeah, it's always with quads.
Yeah.
It's one of the rules.
Okay.
Like, you have to be wearing quad skates. That's just one of the few rules. Refs can wear inlines, but none of them do, I don't think, anymore.
This is funny. I had not intended to talk about this, but now I'm interested about something real
you're
quick.
fine.
So, what is the? I've never been to see roller derby before. What is the end result? I mean, what do you try? What is is a race? Is it
Score
what is
points.
it exactly?
Yeah, it's points based, and each team is 5 girls, and one of those girls is the jammer, and she's the one who'll have a star on her head. And there's 2 lines. There's 2 starting lines. The pack is the other 4 girls on each team, so 8 girls are at the front line, and then there's the jammer line where the 2 jammers start. And the point is that the jammers break through the pack, and the first of the 2 jammers to break through the pack becomes lead jammer. And then every time they go around and get through the pack, every person they pass again from the other team is a point. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a jammer and I pass Alda my second time around, I get a point for Alda.
Yeah. Every lap after your first lap, you score points. So the first lap's like an initiation lap, just to start off.
And find out who's lead jammer.
And find out who's lead jammer. And really the only difference between a lead jammer and a not lead jammer is the lead jammer can quit the jam early.
They go like this
So
to call off the jam.
So there's a lot of little intricacies,
Wow.
but the basic structure of roller derby is 2 teams, 5 skaters per team on the track at once. So 10 skaters total. 2 of those, 1 from each team, point scoring. And they make points by passing opponents' hips. So you have a lot going on all at once. You can have an all defensive team their only goal is to keep that other point scorer behind them the whole game. They don't care about anything else. Or you can have an all offensive where their only goal is to help their own scoring person get through as many times as possible. Or you can have split. You can have 1 person go help be offense and 3 defense, or 2 offense and 2 defense, or
And most of the time,
it can be like a lot.
when you're playing, I feel like you're switching it up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're being offensive and defensive at the same time, because a lot of times both jammers are at your back at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get my jammer through while blocking the other jammer. So I'm trying to block you, and I'm trying to hit other girls out of the side to get her through, to get mine through. So it's very high contact. It's very fast paced. It's
very
extremely physical.
Yeah.
A lot of I often liken it a little bit to hockey in that it's fast paced, and also that a lot of the hitting rules are the same. The legal hits are the same. But hockey, they're allowed to also whack each other with their sticks and then get in fist fights. If you'll get
allowed is the loose term for them.
Yeah, but you'll get
penalized
ejected from the game if you get into a fist fight in roller derby.
Okay.
And part of that is to diminish that past reputation that it had from the past where it was fake. So it's not fake anymore, and they don't want people getting in fights like they do in hockey, because they don't want people to think that it's fake, because it's absolutely not. And people, girls get really
the legit hits are hard enough. You
They're-
don't really need the fighting to occur. I usually have bruises everywhere when I come out of a bout. Yeah, sometimes it'll be your own teammates too. Like your own teammates will be pushing you, and if you're not aware, there's a lot happening at once. And if the jammer, your opposing jammer, is coming up on your inside, and you're looking over here, and your other blocker, your friend, is like, oh, she's over there, and she just pushes you. You got to trust in that push to go there, and then the next day,
like,
like,
I would use
have a
her
handprint.
as like a ball, like the jammer's coming in. Oh crap, the jammer! Push you, smash into the jammer, so the jammer goes flying.
Yeah.
But she has to be. I mean, that's part of the training. Is she has to be
Stable.
Trust me. Know it's me
Trustworthy.
in like seconds. No, it's me. Get ready for the hit. Get ready that I know what I'm doing and I'm going to push her in the right direction. And then,
No hard feelings.
And really,
No hard feelings.
really, you'd grab like
Yeah.
this. You'd push from the hips too because
Yeah.
you want to get her over there as fast as possible while keeping her stable.
It's crazy.
It's a really crazy,
it's
awesome sport.
really, yeah. I usually warn people the first time they see it. Just enjoy the craziness of it. Don't really worry too much about the rules. Just enjoy
There's a lot of rules.
whatever's happening. And then if you liked it, come to another one, and you'll probably start to see certain things happening and pick up
Right.
on like, oh, they saw that this was about to happen, so they did this, and you start noticing plays and certain moves, and eventually you'll figure it all out.
Is it
The refs help you too because the refs will hold up points and they'll point at the lead jammer and if you learn the ref signal, I
Yeah.
think it helps.
Yeah.
And newcomers just to pay attention to the two refs. There's two jam refs. Each of the one follows each jammer. So the lead jammer has her own ref, and the
other jammer.
other jammer has her own ref.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on. It's a lot. It's not like any other sport that I know of where you're playing so many things simultaneously. And that's kind of why I love it. Like, that's why I've been in it for 5 years now. It's pretty engaging. You're always learning. You're never the best and bored. You're always...
This is a predominantly female sport then too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've never,
I'd say,
now that I
like-
think about it, I've never heard of.
There is a men's team.
Is there?
In Denver. Denver
Rolling
Roller Derby.
Bones.
Yeah, no.
No? Did they break up? Break up. I don't know what you'd call that. Dismantle?
I don't want to say things incorrectly, but
Okay.
I believe they absolved, and then under the Denver Roller Derby League, they have formed their own team, and I do not remember what their team name is. But men's is not as big as women's. I would say the sport's 85-90% women, and then men.
Right, makes sense.
But men do have their own tournaments. They have their own association, the Men's Roller Derby Association. They work in coordination with Women's Flat Track Derby Association. That's our leading governing body for most of roller derby sports. They're really supportive. We really support men's. I've played in co-ed leagues where it's men and women on the track at the same time, which is really fun.
And really rare for any sport.
Yeah, really rare
no
for any
kidding.
sport, especially with contact sports. It's really rare. I love it. I think it's amazing. You definitely... Some people aren't for it. Some people are. I personally like it because you have to think more about this person that you're actually hitting rather than I just doing my play. So there's like an extra level of, I'm about to go hit this guy. I need to get lower to hit him effectively versus another if I was hitting a woman. And it's just different.
Wow.
And the guys have brought so many cool things to the sport. Like, when I started 5 years ago, you rarely turned around and skated backwards. You rarely did it. Like, some really good skaters would do it, and people would be like, what's going on? Whatever. And they would just blow them off. And when men started coming into the game, they were doing that more. They would turn around and block while facing you, but skating backwards. And they would do that a lot more, and they would do it effectively. And women were like, that's a great move. How do we learn that? So we've been really collaborative with learning and growing the sport and making it more competitive, more athletic. The level that it's at now is just it's crazy. The highest levels are just amazing to watch. These skaters are just everywhere at once, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's just amazing to watch their athletic abilities. They have to be agile and sturdy and super aware. There's so much going on.
And who are the top teams nationwide this now?
Oh, yeah. So Wifted just had their championships last weekend. And Gotham, which is a team from New York, had been undefeated for 4 years. They unseated my league, Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, in 2011. They became the reigning champions, and they'd been undefeated that whole time. And then they went into championship still undefeated, and Rose City, a team from Portland, actually beat them in the final game this year. So that was a really big win for the underdogs to say, but Rose City is amazing. So they weren't really the underdogs in any aspect besides Gotham just never being defeated for such a long time. Something like 96 games. They'd never lost a game. They'd always won by at least a good margin. And they've made us better. They've made all the other leagues better too. Everyone wanted to beat them. You want to beat the reigning champion, so you just become better. So Rose City did it this year, so now they're the new champions. Exciting. They're a Portland team. It's one of their few sports. And they're very all excited about having a champion team in Portland. So yeah, it's crazy. It's big.
It's a whole world that exists that no one ever, well, I don't know anything about it. You know, it exists all around you, and you don't realize.
Yeah,
and people underestimate it. I mean, like one of the first things that, and one of the things you always practice, one of the first things you learn, one of the fundamentals is learning how to fall, because it's so high contact and it's so aggressive, and you're going to get thrown. That's such an important piece, because people underestimate how hard it is. I mean, I stopped playing because it was hard on my body, and then I had a baby. But I mean, I could start it again. But I want to go do pickup games, but I don't want to be as intense as I was, because like I couldn't bend my knees all the way. I just thought I was getting old. I was like, oh, I can't sit with my knees crunched under me. No, it was the damage that a high contact sport was doing to me.
How fast
even with me being, falling small, always being smart about stuff. You're going to do damage to your joints.
How fast are you moving around the track?
a good clip. Like I want to say an average pack speed is 8 to 10 miles per hour, which you don't think is that fast, but it's a good.
Also getting hit and also jumping and also.
No, if you're, I think a normal person running fast goes about 9 miles an hour. A normal person. So imagine running as fast as you can and then hitting a wall. That's
exactly what it is.
It's crazy because
that's exactly what it is.
And at the sport right now,
and a wall that hits you back.
Yeah, it's a wall that forces you down. Yeah. The evolution of the sport, things have changed. Like when it was first starting, they were just all skating as fast as they could. It was just who can skate faster, who can be the fastest, who can effectively block while skating really fast. And then it evolved to, well, we're all skating really fast now, so that's not helping. Like, what's the next step? And then it became really good, effective blocking. So then you're doing really good, effective blocking, but you're still skating really fast. So you're still working way too hard. So then the best teams were like, well, let's slow down. And then that went to an extreme of let's not move at all and create a really good wall of 4 skaters and have that jammer that's skating at 10, 12 miles per hour just hit us. And we'll be the immovable object. And so then skaters had to learn how to adapt to that. And now it's coming back around to going faster and being more effective offensively. That's like the newest trend within the sport, is that people became so good at defensively blocking. Now the only way to help your point scorer, your jammer, is to play more offense. So now the tide has turned to how do we play better offense? So it's been really interesting, and that's, like I said, every year I grow as a skater, as a player, because it's always changing. It's always growing, and you're always learning with your team and trying to be better at a lot of things at once. It's really fun. I love it. But yeah, that's the scariest thing. My dad came to about, and he was really nervous because I've hurt myself in the past, and he just saw me lining up in a wall, not moving very fast, and this jammer that's just racing around the track, and she doesn't slow down one bit at that wall. She's looking for what we call the seam, the space in between two arms. Because she's literally like,
we can't do this.
Yeah,
we can't do this.
This is getting really showy now. Hey, But yeah, like the seam is literally like this line. And if she hits that line, it's legal. Her hit is legal.
So she comes in.
So she just literally comes in at 12 miles per hour
bone
to a
aiming.
wall that's not, it's pretty scary for someone who doesn't really watch and doesn't know the sport and doesn't know how we
stabilize
stabilize ourselves. But yeah, it's I love it. It's really fun. But yeah, that's how I also get bruises. I get a lot of bruises there. I get a lot of bruises on the back of my thighs. Because I play mostly a blocker, so I get that wall. I'm that wall, and I get the jammers hitting me a lot right there.
Do you spend most of your time on your feet or on your back?
I
mean, the way you're
my feet.
describing this, I'm imagining you're falling over all the time.
The better you get,
the less you fall.
The less you fall. Yeah, and
more
they're
stable you
controlled,
become.
and they're controlled falls. So say you're skating and you get hit, and she's hit me, and I'm off balance. I might just like bend my knee, like barely touch my knee, and get right back up. Like that's
a lunge.
So
like
you're
you
just
do a lunge to ground
so
yourself.
you're kind of learning how to take that inertia and turn it into a move for yourself, so you don't fall. Mm-hmm. And you just like use that inertia and use your body.
The better you get, the less you fall. Mm-hmm. When I started, I fell a lot.
I was going to say, if a normal person out there doing this would be on their back constantly.
Oh, yeah. There is a ton of
like
shows out there that are, TLC type shows. I think the latest one was Somebody's Gotta Do It. The guy that does, I don't remember his name, but the show is called Somebody's Gotta Do It. And he goes and does jobs that no one would want. Mm-hmm. And he used to do like dirty jobs or something, like I forgot.
Micro.
Micro. And he does Somebody's Gotta Do It. And he recently went out to San Diego Derby Dolls, and they have a bank track. And
meaning
meaning it's like the bank level track. And he put skates on for the day. And whenever I see those shows, I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's amazing coverage and an opportunity to gain exposure in our sport. But I also feel really bad for these people thinking that they're just going to come in for a day and like learn how to skate, and then at the end of the day get thrown into a game.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for you right now. Like, that would be my worst fear, is to literally, like, I can't even imagine my first day learning how to skate
and
barely understanding how to stop and fall, and then getting thrown in a game against like the highest level skaters and expecting to play. And then bank track too. Like I couldn't even. Yeah. Credit to him for being able to. He held his own. He fell a lot, but he took it in stride and he did really well. There was a segment where he actually taped a pillow to his butt. Because he's like, I can't take it. And all the girls were laughing at him.
Oh my gosh.
Because falling backwards, that's like the worst thing you could do.
Goodness. I remember skating as a kid at Skate City, and you fall on your butt, and oh my gosh, that is so painful.
But you fall forward, and you have knee pads on, elbow pads.
We teach you that you get low, and when get low, you'll less likely to fall because your center of balance, center of gravity is lower.
Okay.
And then when you're lower, when you fall, it's closer to the ground. So you're falling less far. And then on top of that, when you're lower, you tend to fall forward. You don't fall backward. So that's like one of the core principles of roller derby. When you're a newbie skater, we teach you, please get low as you can. Like, strive for the lowest you possibly can. Which, to everyone, that's different, but you should try for it. I forgot that in a game last week, and someone on the other team saw it and took advantage of it, and I just like fell backwards. And I was like, yep, that was a great hit. Good job. Good job on that hit.
I remember when I first started, one time it was like one of my first scrimmages, and there's so much going on. And when you're playing a game, there's so much going on, and there's so much awareness that you have to have of your body, your teammates, the other teammates, the jammers. It's just like so much. So my brain sort of like, when I get on overload, like if I'm in an art gallery and it's like I've been there too long, I sort of shut off. Like my brain's like, nope, I can't. I gotta like take a quick break. It's like 5 seconds, boom. And then I'm back. And so that happened to me. I was like, and somebody, I don't know, Cass, somebody hit me, and I was like, and my whole spine went crack, like every vertebrae all the way up, just and I was like,
Save you a chiropractic appointment.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was horribly painful and very unnerving. 'Cause I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
that hurt so bad. I mean, it was like, okay.
And you feel bad when you're the more experienced player doing that to someone that's newer, but at the same time, you're like,
and she probably
they gotta learn.
Yeah, and like she's doing her thing too. I mean, how's she's gonna know? Like, it's hard. You know who's new, but you don't know where they're at in their head, and you don't. Yeah, and so until you land the hit and they go way over there, then you're like, ooh, oopsie. I could have done that a little, because I've been guilty of that too. Not as hard as Cass can hit, but
she's a really hard hitter.
So what's like the craziest thing that's happened to you in the playing
in the moment of the game? Oh, wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Like craziest as in,
I don't know. Whatever
oh my
that
God,
means
I cannot
to you.
believe that just happened.
Yeah.
Do you have a story immediately coming to mind?
I have one I'm proud of. One time
you should do that.
Do it up.
One time, it was one of the last games that I played. I hit triple shot Misto. She was coming around. She was the jammer, and she was on the inside
really
line. Super
She was
good.
on Amazing Race for
She was
people
on Amazing
that might be
Race.
on the know.
Yeah. So she was coming along the inside line, and I did some move, and I hit her. I got her with my hip, and I got her out, and I stayed in. And I was like, because you have to stay in, otherwise if you go out, they can just come right back in. If you stay in, they have to come in behind you.
Okay.
So that was a moment I was really proud of myself, is that I got her out, and I was basically like, did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? I got her.
Yeah.
But that was really, it's really hard to get someone at that level out. That's a defining moment for me.
Oh, cool.
Also,
That's awesome.
I played at the Fillmore only one time. Well, I played mini bouts at the Fillmore, but I played one.
Here in Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
we play like half our season at the Fillmore Auditorium.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I love
It's
it.
super fun. So yeah, I played one with the Sugar Kill Gang. That was my team. And a little girl came up to me afterwards and wanted my autograph.
That's awesome.
That feels pretty good.
So, yeah, like, I signed it, and
yeah.
it was like I was a superhero to her. It was really incredible.
Yeah. I think, to me, the only moments that stand out for roller derby when I'm playing is when I lay an awesome hit on somebody, and you hear the crowd go, oh! And I'm like, yep, I just did that to you. Or like, when I am jamming, and I'm not a traditional, well, there's no really traditional body types for any of the roles in our sport. But historically, jammers are not as tall as me and usually have a more slender frame. But that's not necessarily true anymore. They have to be more powerful now. So a lot of them are really doing a lot of strengthening and bulking up and trying to become more athletic and have a lot of muscles, which I do not have either. So I'm neither of those things. I'm just this force on the track that doesn't tend to move very easily. And when I jam, I try to do the same things, but sometimes I'll get really agile like other jammers, and I'll take the outside line, and they think they're just going to knock me out. But because I can hold it, I don't get knocked out. And then if I'm able to like whip out some cool spin move and spin around them and go out, like,
that feels so good. That feels so good when you have someone pushing against you and they can't budge you, and then you just roll off of them, and they're like, that they're like defeated. And you're not defeated. That feels until the other girl comes on the inside line and then clips you right after that, and then you're like
rebounding, and you're like, I made it, and she comes and swipes you. Yeah, that for me. Like, it was actually a couple weeks ago, and I've been working on it, and I did it like 3 times in a row, and one of our best skaters on our league, she came up to me after the jam, and she was like, way to go, Aldo. Way to really like thread the needle, that's what we call it. And you're like, way to really you did a really good job on that. And I'm like beaming afterwards. I'm like, I did awesome. That's just the best. Thanks, guys. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of small micro moments where you're like, you feel great, or you feel like you're the stupidest person like I just mentioned,
Yeah.
like I forgot to be low and I totally got caught unawares, and I'm pretty sure it was one of the best skaters that came over and just, I exposed my front, which is all illegal blocking, like hitting zone, and I exposed my front. I stood up. I did everything wrong in that jam, and she just came and just went wham, and I fell backwards probably, and I actually tore my thumbnail off.
Ooh.
And and then the jam ended, so I didn't have to like really be worried about covering my thumb for the rest of the jam. But I came off the track, I looked at my thumb, and I saw this hangnail, and I went, all right, and I just like tore the rest of it off. Ugh. And I like threw it away and went, okay, we'll deal with that later. And I paid for my mistake, and I was like, well, that was a valuable lesson in paying for my.
How much blood is on the track at the end of one of these things? That just, I'm thinking,
Bruises.
oh, wait a minute.
Mostly bruises.
Broken bones ever? Does that happen very often?
Oh man, do you remember that time at the old at the old warehouse?
You say broken bones, and we're like, oh yeah, we got some broken bone stories. It doesn't happen frequently, but
what's her name? Apple something. She was on. I don't know if she's still on the Dolls. On the Denver.
I don't remember.
Oh gosh, she's a really strong jammer. And I can't remember her name, but they were having a bout, and I think it was just a mix up bout. But anyway, she ended up she broke her leg, and her foot was facing the other direction, and it was just this scream, just this horrifying scream. And
From
it
her?
happens.
Yeah. And the
yeah.
ambulance came, and it was like, but
it happens.
But yeah, it's mostly concussions. I think are probably the worst injury that are most frequent. Minor concussions, just because it's just like any other contact sport. Football, they get a lot of concussions. So, but they're really serious about taking care of it. I mean, stop skating. But the unfortunate thing is that someone like football, they've got doctors that are there.
Yeah, that's their full-time job. It's
they got
like
the X-ray, back in the.
They immediately have a cast on. They immediately are icing. They have a trained staff that's going to give them all the correct measures immediately, and then they have a whole. Well, if it's a break, 6 weeks, 8 weeks off. Like I know that because that's happened, but 6 to 8 weeks off for a break, and you're rehabbing. And if you're a paid athlete, that's all you have to worry about. Just get better. And usually that's why those athletes, like in the NFL and stuff, are back within 4 to 6 weeks. But when you have a real job, well, I say they have a real job, but when you have a job, full-time job, and you're doing this, and you're doing this outside of your sport, now you have to tell your job, either I can't work because I'm broken because I play this other sport. And you can develop your time there, or you have to find time outside of your job to go and do rehab so that you can get back to playing or just get back to your normal routine. Like, it's a lot. I've broken my ankle. That was a bummer of a moment. I was pretty upset about that. I broke my ankle and tore my anterior ligament off on my ankle, and it took me a year to come back. And then 2 years later, I popped my ACL and PCL in my knee, and I had to take another year off for that. Like, ligaments actually take a really long time to heal. Ligaments and sprains are the worst. They're longer than bones, yeah. Bones are 6 to 8 weeks. They usually say bone, you'll heal and you can come back 6 to 8 weeks. And ligaments, it's at least 3 months.
Yeah, and tendons can take, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Wow.
So I've hurt myself a lot, and I keep playing because I love it. And I'm delusional, but in my mind, I'm like, this sport is what's keeping me healthy. Like, I love it. It's the only thing it forces. I hate CrossFit. I think it's the worst. I will go to CrossFit to get better at roller derby, to be able to, because I know I need to strengthen. I know I need to be strong. I know that that's the only way to prevent future injuries. I will do that for roller derby. If you removed roller derby from the equation, I really don't know if I do any of those other things. I would definitely not do CrossFit. I would maybe try to do some Pilates or yoga, and I hate Pilates too. I am for roller derby. everything I do is for roller derby kind of mentality. And that's my health. And yeah, you get hurt sometimes. That's just the price you pay when you're doing a aggressive athletic sport.
Yeah, roller derby's fun. My philosophy around working out has always been like a kid. Just play. Just play. Like climb trees, go to the park, swing on some monkey bars, do some cartwheels. Like play. Play roller derby. Skateboard. And because doing anything that's not play, to me, becomes work. If it's like physical, And then I'm like, I don't want to force myself to do work to feel healthy. I want to just play.
And that's
interesting.
That's I think the difference why you're like, I'm gonna take a break, and where as opposed to me where I'm like, I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
I gotta push through this.
Yeah, I want to get back into playing like little, small just pick up games.
Yeah.
Because for me it was never I loved playing the Fillmore, but I just like playing scrimmage was just as fun to me as playing at the Fillmore.
In front of people.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily about the competition to you. It was more about
playing. I just want to play.
I mean, when it comes down to it, I definitely am for that. Like, I don't think I'll ever truly retire. I'll probably just play.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just take a step back from trying to be my best and just be comfortable just playing some pickup games on a weekend. And
I just have to get organized with it and get myself organized and give it back to myself as a gift. But one thing I want to talk about, since we're talking about roller derby, is that when I was doing roller derby, I'd get into conversations with people in like a elevator or something, or I'd be dressed in a certain way, because
those are fun days.
Super sweet tights, shorts, like looking super awesome. I mean, I've never looked better than when I was playing roller derby, just for my wardrobe, not necessarily the way my shape of my body. I just mean my wardrobe was like on point. But people were like, "Why are you dressed up like that? What is that? Oh, I play roller derby. Oh," and like, "Oh yeah, that's that fake sport. Ha 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 ha." You get a lot of like, especially older men that are they just laugh at it. They don't know, so they're taking what they maybe used to hear, used to know. And then even when you start to explain it, I've met a lot of just people that still don't take me seriously. Like, oh, I'm sure it's really hard for you. I'm sure you get hurt,
Like, come put some skates on, I'll show you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have hip checked people before. I'll be like, I can show you how I can hit, and I'll hip check someone and they'll be like, oh, I'm like, prepare yourself, stand still, don't be floppy. But that's frustrating, I think, just as somebody who played roller derby and who plays roller derby, because it's a mentality that needs to be changed, because it's such a cool sport.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stereotyping with roller derby that you'd never know who is going to believe what. When I was starting, there was a lot of people that were like, "But you're not a lesbian." Yeah. And I was like, "Who said I had to be a lesbian to play roller derby? That's not really. I can want to play roller derby and not be gay." And funny enough is mostly, I mean, a lot of guys said that, but some girls did too. And I was like, just because we're owning our own body and we're playing in a sport that's really physical doesn't make us anything but athletes.
Right.
Yeah. There's such a spectrum, like what to your point about the body type. There's tiny little girls who play roller derby. There's huge girls who are like taller than you who play roller derby. God. I mean, there is just such a cool spectrum of physical. There's a cool spectrum of personalities. There was a cop on our league. There's conservative straight women that are stay-at-home moms. There's lesbians. There's transgender people. There's just everybody, every type of woman that you could imagine coming together, and it's such a cool thing.
Yeah, but the stereotypes of it is really crazy, because you'll get oh, you're a lesbian, or you'll get weird ones like, oh, you're slutty because what we wear for our uniforms.
Interesting.
Because I mean, the sport's evolved again. It's totally changed from what you wear in the beginning to where you wear now. But for fun bouts
playful.
from games. Yeah, it's playful. Like you wear leggings that are skin tight because one, they're cool looking. You like it. You feel sexy in them. That's sure. That's a part of it. But also, they don't give you rink rash when you fall. They are pretty aerodynamic. You don't have to worry about someone's knee pad
Catching on a piece of
Velcro,
loose clothing.
yeah, catching on your skirt anymore. Like just random things like that. But these people, all they see on the outside is a girl wearing like form-fitting clothing that's sexy.
Sure.
And so they're like, oh hey, yeah.
It's not
Like,
my
I've had-
fault that you think that I look sexy in this.
Yeah, I've had some guy like when we're out promoting and I'm in my bout fit or whatever you want to call them, our uniforms, and we're out promoting before a game. I've definitely had some really creepy guys like touch me in some really awkward ways.
Yeah.
The most awkward one, which one of my friends was with us, she was very surprised I let him do that to me, but he came up and he was like, "Oh yeah, are you gonna come to the game? Like, so is it real?" Like,
I don't even feel comfortable with you doing that, even though, like, just because you're the way your face looks.
And I was like
all this
but
stuff.
I was, like, come to the bout. So I'm like, yeah, you should come to the bout. Like,
Right.
I totally
Played into the flirtatious.
let it go, stayed slightly I was like very minimally flirtatious at that point.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, you should come. It would be really great. We'd love to see you there. And that's all I really said to him.
Wow,
But,
that's
guys
amazing.
see an outfit.
Yeah, that happens for sure.
I mean, not all guys.
And
Not all
hopefully
But it
they
happens.
come and then they
But it does
change their
happen.
mind about things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
So-
I can imagine after what you described, I certainly would. I think I'd be afraid.
We should go to
After
a
you
roller
will have-
derby.
we-
We should.
We'll, do,
We'll have
we'll
a
take
Last
the cameras and
Catherine-
we'll go.
Yeah.
We'll go film one of these things.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was absolutely fascinating. We didn't get to anything we were planning on talking about,
sidetrack
but that was fun
conversation.
though. That was a great conversation talking about roller derby
Yeah.
today.
That's usually what happens
So-
when someone asks me about roller derby.
That's where we
It's
go.
so much
That's
fun.
what
It
happens.
just goes down and you're like, I'm sorry that I just took an hour of your conversation at this party or wherever I am.
That's
They're like,
awesome.
oh, you play roller derby? And I'm like, oh.
Here we
Here we go.
Do you
Here we
have
go.
an hour? And it's usually not even, like, I end up talking a lot, but it's usually them asking a question. And then it's an hour later.
That's amazing. That's
And I'm-
funny.
I
I
can't-
believe
It's important,
it. I
though.
believe it.
I constantly give them a bunch of outs, too. I'm like, do you want out of this conversation now? Like, do you want to keep talking about this?
That's
or
actually
do you wanna...
a great practice all of us should get into.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people.
Yeah, like,
I've
just check
talked
in
to before.
emotionally.
Like,
Yeah.
are we still good over here? Because I'm okay to
Do
stop.
you still really
That's
want to talk
funny.
about roller derby? I could talk about roller derby for days, but do you want to keep
That's so
talking about
funny.
roller derby? Like,
That's
I
funny.
could go on for I could talk about World Cup. I could talk about so much.
Well, we need to wrap this one
Yes,
up
yep.
for obvious
Good
because you
check-in.
got to get going.
Good
We're about to
check-in.
play Dungeons and
Or-
Dragons.
That's what it is, Dungeons and
We're
Dragons.
playing Dungeons and Dragons,
Okay.
yeah.
So anyway, well, thank you for watching. This is and listening. This was really fun. Obviously, that was really cool. I mean, seriously, wow. So comment on Facebook things you like, don't like, things that you'd like to see us do in the future on this show. YouTube. You can watch things there. Listen to it on lastcatherine.com. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then
Tweet at us
Tweet
at
at
Last
us.
Catherine. Also, our Pinterest is really awesome.
we have an awesome Pinterest.
More
And so-
D&D people.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.